Welcome to this video, dear students. Today, we are introducing two-dimensional arrays. In the previous videos, we introduced one-dimensional array and we went through some programs that make use of one-dimensional array. In this context, it's going to be different because two-dimensional array is very vast and there are a lot of basic computation that need to be done. So, a PDF will be provided to you for those basic operations on arrays, that is addition of 2D arrays, subtraction, multiplication, and transpose, verification whether it is an identity matrix or not, and all of them. A PDF will be provided to you for such. So in this video, we are simply introducing two-dimensional arrays, how to initialize, how to declare, how to print the values of a two-dimensional array. And in the next video, we are going to look at some programs, that is diverse program that makes use of the knowledge of that makes use of the application of two-dimensional arrays. Let us proceed. Also known as an array of arrays or a matrix, a two-dimensional array is characterized by the same elements like a one-dimensional array, that is the data type, the size, and the identifier. But the size is determined by the number of rows and columns. An example is given below. So this is a two-dimensional array, as you can see. You have two different indices here, one for the different rows, one for the different columns. When declaring a two-dimensional array, the row size is provided first before the column size. The syntax is given as we have data type, array name, row size, column size. So for the one given beside, the declaration will be data type integers, the name matrix, how many rows? 1, 2, 3. 3 rows, how many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So to declare this, I'm going to have int matrix 3, 4. Since it has 3 rows and 4 columns. When using an element from a two-dimensional array, the row number and column number are each in their square braces. So to access the element 9, as you can see, element 9 is in row number 9 and column number 2. So it will be matrix 2 in bracket in square braces, 2 in square braces, and not 2, 2, like in some algorithms. So please pay attention, dear students. The row number and the column number are each in their braces. Note, when writing programs using two-dimensional arrays, it is an excellent practice to declare the sizes as global variables. One variable for both if you are working with a square matrix. We know that a square matrix is a matrix whose number of rows and columns are the same. So if that's the case, then you declare just one global variable that will both represent the row size and the column size. But in case it is a rectangular array, you will need two variables, one for the row and one for the column. As we shall be working in the next video, we are going to look at that. Next, several programs making use of two-dimensional array uses double loops for their operations. Very important because most of those algorithms with the operation is going row-wise. So we have one loop that is checking for each row. Then inside that loop, we have a loop again that is checking for each column, and that is how we are going through element by element. They use a single loop in case the operation requires either the row or the column to be constant while the other one changes. That is, you are working only for a particular row or for a particular column. In that case, it is only one loop while the other one will remain constant. That is, a particular value will be attributed to it. We are going to look at that. Or when it deals with elements whose row and column number must always be the same. That is the linear diagonal. Initialization of array elements. 2D arrays can be initialized in many ways, just like 1D arrays. So we have initialization during declaration. The elements of a 2D array can be initialized at declaration, just as variable. When initialized at declaration, we need to provide a value for every or some elements in the array row by row. Arrays are initialized at declaration following the syntax. We have data type, array name, row size, column size as in the declaration. Then you see that inside we have our braces first of all, our curly braces. And now inside the curly braces, we have each curly braces for each row. That's why you see the one curly braces for row 1, row 2 until row n. These row values are given just like in 1D array initialization. So for example, here you see to initialize the array matrix at declaration, I'm going to have what? In the first curly braces, I'm going to have 2, 3, 8, 0 as you can see, 6, 10, 4, 2, then 8, 1, 9, 10. That was, we call it an array of arrays because we know that it is only arrays that initialize its value using curly braces. But now inside this curly brace again, I have curly brace again mean that what inside my array initialization I initialize other arrays. That is why we call it array of arrays, because this is array number one, array number two, array number three. Because for a two-dimensional array, each row is considered as a 1D array. Initialization from user side. The syntax below, provided I and j are counters, gives you the code to read values into a 2D array from the keyboard. So we have for I equals to 0, I less than row size. For j equals to 0, j less than column size. Printf, so for elements, so that you should know the index at which you are working with. Then you have your scanf percentage %d, provided it is an array of integers. Then you have your ampersand, array name, position I, j. So this is the explanation. The double loop is for the element to be entered row by row. Reason why the first loop iterates from 0 to row size, while the inner loop iterates from 0 to column size. If the reverse is done, the element will be filled column by column, and it's a little bit troublesome in some cases. So it is always advisable to be working with array element row by row. Initialization with a description, just like in 1D array, you just replace, as you can see, with the expression. The expression are the same like the one we saw under 1D array. We are going to look at examples. Don't be in a race. In the last part of this lesson, printing the elements of a 2D array. The elements of a 2D array are best outputted when the elements are displayed row-wise. The syntax for that is, so printf array elements, I have for I equals to 0, just like the initialization from the user side, just that at the level, at this inside, instead of scanf, it is a printf, and we are printing the element. And you realize that after the end of the inner loop, I have a printf slash n, meaning that what? As row 1, as a particular row is over, the next set of elements should be printed down to the next line. That is why we have this, because if this is not there, all the elements of the array are going to be printed row wise, that is in one line. You will not know where the first row ends, where the second row starts, and so on and so forth. We are going to see an example to clearly explain you that. Let us move to our IDE. Okay, new program. I have my hashtag include standard input output.h. I have my int main. So now, since I'm working with this, let me declare hashtag define row size. Let me say row for the rows. So I have 4. Let me say 4. Then hashtag define column 5. So you should be used to this, where row is the size of the row and col is the size of the column. So first of all, printf, and so let me declare my array. So I will say int matrix row column. Let me initialize it directly. So first of all, I'm going to have 4, 5, 6. The column 5. So each row has 5 elements, 0. Then the other one, and there are 4 rows, so I should have 4 curly braces. So I have 6, 10, -2, 13, 8. Then the last one, let us print now array elements. So I have 4, I equals to 0, I less than the row size, which is row, I increments. Inside that, I have 4, j equals to 0, j less than the column, j increments, then I print. So this is the syntax that you need to know, dear students. In case it is to be modified, then the description will always be provided in the question, always. So I have percentage %d slash t, so that we should see the space between them. Then I have matrix at position I, j. That is what we have at the end. I have a slash n, and I return 0. I hope you guys saw the same error like me. I and j counters were not declared. So if I run this to the array test, This time around, I'm using underscore. I'm not using the camel system. So if I run this, it's that my elements are well displayed 4, 5, 4, 5, 5, 6, 0, and so on, as you can see. So let me try and remove, for example, this last one and run. Let me see whether we put 0 at the end. Yes, so by default, we know that what the values are 0. That's why he has put those 0. Now, in case I remove this slash n, let me comment it. In case this slash n is not there, all the values will be printed in one line. As you can see, I don't think that this down is because, no, it's because my window is not enough. So as I expand it, that's how you see that it comes on one line. Let me expand it well so that you should see that is it on one line. Whereas once I remove this my slash n, when I run, everything is okay. So that is what we have for the first part. Now let us try and enter the values ourselves. So let me change this to 2 and this to 3. I remove this declaration. I copy this. Enter array elements. Then I will just copy this because they are a little bit the same. Label modification. So at this level, it is instead a scanf %d. Then I have my ampersand. Then this, sorry, this is not present. So that is all. But before that, printf elements %d, %d. You know that I'm fond of aesthetic programming, so it depends on you. You are the one deciding how you want your program to appear. And remember, a program that is well documented is easy to correct errors. So I can say 5. So that this is the end of row 1 because now you are on row 1. So you start with this method, you can clearly see which particular element you are entering. 9, 4, 7. As you can see, so these are the array elements 5, 3, 6, 9, 4, 7. As you can see, dear students. Okay, let us try and at this level, let me just put J like this and I wipe this. Let us see whether the compiler will accept it. So if I run this, it accepted, but let us see if we print what we want. So is that there is an error. Is that instead of printing the required values, it prints something different, as you can see. So if you omit to put each of the column and the row in their respected square braces, then you are going to have errors, dear students. So let us try and see. I would like to see how it's going to be if I initialize the values myself, that is using an expression. And this time around, as you know, I am fond of random numbers. So I will say matrix at position ij is equals to rand in mode 2, binary numbers, computer science for a reason. But before that, we know that you need to, that is all we have in order to have different random numbers. So here, what is our error? They say row number is not precise, so 5, 5. If I run now, that's the binary I have. If I run again, I have something different. Let me increase the size to 10 to have a larger board. That is what we have. And also, there is another way of printing elements that you need to know. Let me just show you on this IDE. Instead of using /t, there is a space, then there is a line, a straight line like this. Let us run and see how it looks like. First of all, you see that they are separated, as you can see. But now, if before that I put another space, and I ensure that after every line, before going down, I have bars like this. So if I run, error, this is supposed to be down, so slash n first. So if I run, as you can see, so now I need now to adjust just a little bit in such a way that it corresponds. So I can decide to remove two of such lines. So if I remove two of them and I run, you see that the board is a little bit more presentable. I can see decide that before every beginning, I put another straight line, and before I should also close. So this printf comes also before I print this. Then before each of this, I must print a line. Let us see. And that is a nice board that has been prepared for you. Let me try and shift this thing inside. That is, I remove one of them, then I put space. I remove one of them and I put space. So you see that now I have a very good board, and you see that that is how sometimes you'll be required to output your values. So let me change and put, for example, a number in mode 10. Now you see how the board is well presented. As you can see, that is what we have, dear students. As easy as that. It can also be that you are initializing to the same value. Let me say 5. If I run, I have 5 everywhere. That is what we have. So, dear students, this video was just for you to know how to read elements into an array, output elements of an array in so many in different ways, because it's the only way I propose to you in the notes. There are other ways that can be given to you, because a diagram can be given and you'll be asked to produce your output following that particular diagram as we did here. And that one, there is no particular syntax. You need to use your knowledge. You need to have a little bit of creativity. Then you apply some printf and everything will be done. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do not forget to like, to subscribe, and to share for our community to grow. Together, let us raise the Byte by Byte community. Thanks, and see you in the next video.